Hey everyone, welcome to the F Podcast. I'm your host, Gayu Lewis, a licensed menopause coach, and I'm excited for you to join us today. This podcast is all about helping women navigate menopause and beyond with confidence and support. Today, I've got a fantastic guest joining us, Sharon. Sharon is not only a fitness instructor, but a fellow menopause coach. Sharon has over 15 years of experience working in the health and fitness industry. She is a group exercise instructor and loves to motivate people to become the best version of themselves. In Jan this year, she and her business partner started Womanhood, an educational platform for women to better understand their menopause journey. We are going to chat about all things fitness, from the best exercises to keep you feeling strong and energetic to practical tips for staying active no matter where you are in your journey. Sharon's got some amazing insights and advice, and I know you'll love. So get your workout gear and let's start the reps. Sharon, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, like I said, you and I resonate on the same message that the more women talk about menopause, the better it is.
Definitely, yeah. It
Yeah.
needs to be, at least it needs to be spoken about more. Years ago it was that massive taboo that people didn't want to speak about it. They were embarrassed. But I think that as times are evolving, and it is inevitable that every woman's going to go through it. So
True.
we need to be vocal about it and we need to educate them on their journey. And what's about to happen to their bodies.
Yeah, so more the merrier, right?
Yes.
That's the motto. That's the punchline. Can you share with us your background and your journey into becoming a fitness instructor, which is one of your biggest passions, and then moving into becoming a menopause educator?
Yeah, so I used to work in an office after leaving school for 8 years, and I realized that it wasn't for me. I remember my last job, you had to log out of your phone every time you left the desk. And I literally could not sit for more than 5 minutes. So I was constantly logging, and then I was walking, I was going to the toilet, and people were like, Sharon, where are you going? And I just couldn't sit still. So when I went traveling, that was where I found my passion for exercise. So I went to Australia and they were huge on waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and going for a run around the park. Obviously the weather helped, not like Scotland. And then after I left Australia, that was where I really got into the passion for fitness. I then went to Thailand. And I stayed there for 1.5 years, and I was only supposed to be there for 3 months. My sister came to meet me in Thailand, and I was supposed to fly home with her. And I just never went. I never left. And that was my passion grew. I started Muay Thai. I started to fight in Muay Thai. And then when I went home, eventually, I decided to go and study. And that was when I became like a fitness expert in anything to do with strength training and PT, group exercise. Then I kind of got more into the management role, which then took me straight back behind a desk, which I realized this is not for me. So after that, I moved to Dubai, and again, more into the management role. And as that kind of, evolved, I realized that a lot of my clients that I had, they didn't even know what their symptoms were. So a lot of my female clients were at that, mid-40s age, where, they were coming to me with more and more problems. And the more I was Googling and the more I was, coming up with these symptoms, I was like, have you ever been to the doctor? Have you ever spoke about perimenopause? They were like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
They
What
don't
is that
even know.
term?
And, a lot of the feedback they were getting when they were going to the doctors was doctors don't actually know what perimenopause is. They
Totally
just
agree.
go straight to menopause. If you've not had a cycle for, 12 months or more, you're now in menopause. Whereas for me, it's the journey up to that is where women need to understand what's going on with their body. And that could be, up to 10 years. It could be a decade of all these things that's going wrong with their hormones and their bodies. And now they start to know that perimenopause is a thing. So that was when I decided to then go and specialize in this. So I've done Girls Gone Strong. It's an American certification, and I've now just become I'm doing a 20 hours on menopause experts qualification,
Okay.
which is now in 24 countries as well. And yeah, so that's where I'm at with this. But in between all of that, we realized, me and my business partner for womanhood were like, why do we just need to talk about one thing? Because then we're only limiting our audience to one thing.
Okay.
So we then decided to do an educational platform on, PCOS, on pre-postnatal pregnancy, anything that's to do with women that can obviously cause hormonal imbalances. It needs to be spoken about.
Yep.
So that was where womanhood came along, and yeah.
Fantastic. But what motivated you to specialize in menopause?
To help these women. I mean, like, I just felt so bad seeing these women suffer and not being able to get that help that they needed. Now, I'm not a doctor. I can't help them medically, but I realized that there is so much more that they can do without having to be putting extra hormones into their body.
True.
I mean, for me, if you can do whatever you can naturally to help you on your journey,
Yeah.
and just know how to exercise, to eat properly, to wake up in the morning and not feel like you're basically battling to even get out of bed, you're
Yeah.
in pain, you don't understand what's going on with your body. So for me, it was all about, these women need help, and I want to be that person that can help them as much as I can. Because for me, I'm not only educating them, I'm educating myself, because there's going to be a time that I need to know what's going to happen with my body. And what I've always said is that if you could tell yourself, your older self now, if you could tell your younger self something that you would have done differently,
Yeah.
why would you not now tell yourself what you want your older self to know?
Yeah.
And I believe that this should even be given to girls in schools, like when they're going through
Puberty.
puberty,
Yeah.
that they need to know that there's a journey. Because at my last event, a lot of the girls that we spoke to didn't even know about, there was a time frame of when their eggs are going to start to deplete.
Yeah.
And you're only born with a certain amount of eggs.
Yeah.
And the eggs are only going to last a certain amount. And if you know in your 20s that if you could do something to help, like this egg freezing, that's all, this big talk about now, that if that's an option for you in your 20s, because you don't know what your next 10-year journey is going to be like.
True.
Whether it's people want to be successful in their career, or maybe it is that they haven't met the right person.
Yeah.
So, they should be then educated on their journey of what they need to do by a certain age, and not think that they've got forever to, become a parent. And then the older you get, the harder it is. Or by the time you get to that, then it's like, oh, now I need to think about the menopause, because that's my next stage.
Yeah.
So I believe that there should be an educational thing on these younger generations on what their journey might look like, and then that will make them start to think.
That's a good way you put that, because study says that women are only left with about 4% of their eggs by the time they actually plan to have a family.
Exactly.
Which is the current age right now, not compared when people had kids at 2021.
Yeah.
Nowadays people push it to 35, 40. So basically you're just left with about 4% of your eggs.
And this is how women have evolved, because women now want to have that career. They don't want to have, a family, and then by the time that the family's grown up and left the house, it's too late for them to have a career.
Yeah.
So for women who are now evolving in that kind of career, that they didn't actually think about, oh, maybe I should have looked into that when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
So, it's like a mirroring effect. You either have your family really early and then maybe miss out in your career, or have your career and then that could also, cost you missing out and having a family. So,
yeah. It's trying to find the balance in between both the extremes.
Yeah. And I think as well, I mean, obviously with everything that you do as well, like you need to know that there's a lot more going on with your hormones, because people are going undiagnosed with other things that cause infertility, like the PCOS, and, they don't understand what's going on with their body until it's too late. So if I can be a mentor to these women to help with an educational platform like yourself, if we can help like even 1 in 10 women, we are starting this new,
revolution
of one person then tells someone else, tells someone else. So, I mean, I guess we need to use our voice to help these women.
Totally agree. We've spoken, nowadays, I think like you're saying, there's a lot of talk about menopause and people are actually talking about it more openly. But exercise, right, plays a big role in managing a lot of menopausal symptoms. Women anyways struggle to lose weight as they hit that perimenopause phase because of the whole hormonal roller coaster. The belly fat is, of course, clinging on to you like dear life at this moment. And metabolism slows down, right? But I am someone who loves fitness. I love working out, and that too, especially that one that like I love CrossFit, where I've lifted weights, I'm sweating, I'm screaming. There's the weights dropping on the floor. That's the buzz that gets me going. But maybe it's not the same for everyone.
No.
But I still believe that regular exercise is extremely important. For you, that's your passion.
Yes.
Can you maybe from the horse's mouth tell the audience, why is it so important, especially for women during menopause, that please go to the gym?
So when I remember when my mum and my grandma, when we were growing up, like the exercise kind of phase back then was all like, wearing leotards and sweatbands and doing like aerobics, and like women just thought it was cardio and ran, and when it came to the age where it was hitting them that they were going through like the menopause, there was a lot more science behind how weight training and strength training helps women with osteoporosis, and the more muscle they have, then the more like they can build a strong body, basically. Strong body, strong mind. I believe in all that as well. But up until a certain era, that was never a thing. Women were never ever seen in a weights area in the gym. It was like forbidden, like you must not cross this line, because 1, they were not educated, and 2, it was like that kind of gym where it was dropping weights and screaming, and it was intimidating for women. And through my 15 plus years, it's I went from seeing maybe 1 or 2 women in the weights area to now women taking over the weights area. So it's good that women are starting to be educated on that, and getting past the whole like, oh my God, I don't want to look big,
bulky.
And it's like, I've been lifting weights for years, and it's still
I'm trying to look bulky, but it's not working, darling.
Exactly. and you just get that 1 or 2, minority of women who is the bodybuilder or maybe taking other substances to make them look like that. But like, women needed to be educated in that kind of. And I mean, it still happens that if I tell women to lift weights and they're like, oh, but I don't want to. It takes a while to educate them, but once you start to educate them, then they get it. Because the more muscle your body has, the more fat your body burns. And it's not about the scales anymore. It's about your body shape. So you can still weigh the same, but your body fat is less and your muscle is more. Yeah. But again, that generation and that era of women wanted to step on the scales and weigh a certain amount, and that is what was more mental to them, because it was like, oh, I'm fat because I weigh this amount. Yeah. But now there's so much more technology out there that can actually read the internal fat, muscle, water retention, everything. So it helps women understand what's going inside. And I believe it's more about the inside out. So we need to look after our gut health, our mental health, and our physical health. And that's what's going to be shown on the outside.
True.
So for me, it was just getting rid of the old, generation of gym goers and evolving that into women that need to come into the gym and need to lift weights and need to obviously be stronger so that they can then. I remember my gran was like frail. Now my gran like passed away in maybe her 70s. My mum is now in her 70s, and I couldn't imagine my mum being anything that what my gran was, because again, the generations are changing.
Yeah.
So hopefully by the time that we get to that age, we'll still be in the gym lifting weights and
That's the dream.
Yes.
You again spoke about strength training, that it's very important, again, like for building muscle, for bone density. But how should it be incorporated into daily routine? Should women do strength training every day, or should it be like a mixed routine?
No, it's good to have a bit of a mix. I mean, one, you'll get bored. Two, your body gets used to doing the same routine over and over again. If for example, you are training 5 days a week, then maybe you should have 3 days strength training, maybe 1 day of a mindful exercise, whether it's yoga, whether it's just walking, and, maybe a day where it's like cardio, because we still need to look after our cardio health. But for me, I try to kind of get as much strength training as I can for my clients, but not make them feel like they're bored of doing the same routine. So if they can work out 5 days a week, then I'll break it down so that they're getting the right amount of mix of different styles of exercising.
Yeah, so like keep it exciting so that
so
it's not monotonous and people are like bored of it.
Yeah. And a lot of women as well used to be like thinking that they need to go to the gym for 2 hours. Like 45 minutes to 1 hour is maximum that what you should be spending in a gym. So all you need is like that 1% of your day that you need to exercise. And for me, I prefer doing it in the morning. I don't know about you. I'm not an evening person when it comes to the gym.
Me, morning.
But for once you wake up in the morning and get it done, you feel so much better for the whole day.
Yeah, and it's like a big tick mark from your to-do list, right? Because I personally feel if I don't do it in the morning and if I'm like, I'll do it later, I will always keep procrastinating. I'm like, later, a little later, and then the day's gone.
Exactly.
Evening, there's no chance I can pick myself up and actually push me to the gym. Even though I love working out, I'm like morning, 6 o'clock, 7, max I'm done. And
Yeah, and it just releases those endorphins for the rest of the day that makes you feel good. And as you say, you've ticked it off the list, so that's it done for today. And then, you can go home and chill and have some more like mindful kind of stuff to do in the evenings. Watch like whatever you want in TV or listen to a podcast or read a book. But yeah, at least you don't think, oh, I still need to go to the gym. So yeah.
What's your take on HIIT or so-called SIT nowadays for cardiovascular, exercises for women, mainly during menopause? Because like how our hormones are changing every day, and also we got our whole menstrual cycle. Does it actually help, or does it actually cause more stress?
So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to learn more about the menopause as well, because what I had in plan for my clients, so when I turned up in the morning and got there, I didn't know how they were going to feel. They could have had a really bad sleep, they could have been having like their hot flushes, and they might not be able to do what I want them to do in the gym. Again, if they're going through a menstrual cycle, because obviously with the menopause, they could, have one every 2 weeks, every 5 weeks, every 8 weeks, like they just don't know. So, that was always the hit or the miss with planning a session with the clients. Whereas I like the idea of having, a bit of HIIT training or a bit of like less also, like more low intensity kind of training. So always having like a backup plan. But for me, HIIT training is good because, it gets... the different variations in the exercises. So, you're getting the heart rate up, you're keeping it up, so you're burning more calories, but then it might not be suitable for how they're feeling on that day. So I always struggled when it came to my clients. Maybe they would have messaged me the night before telling me I'm not really feeling too great. So then I'd be like, right, we're going to do a more low intensity session tomorrow, more stretching, more, like getting, a little bit more of the yoga, stretch, mindfulness into that session so that they're still getting something like that in. Because again, to be fair, we don't really do that on our own. If you're sitting in the house, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to do a yoga session on my own. So yeah, I kind of always had a different variation of exercises for them. But I wouldn't, depending on age and stuff, if they have joint pains, if they have knee problems, there's some exercises that they wouldn't be able to execute, for example, like jumps or running or whatever, because they might not be able to. So there's always different variations of exercises that you would put into a plan for your client.
Since you spoke about running, I said I had to ask you this question. I hate running. I can't run to save my life. I don't think that motivates me. I like cycling. I do different types of cardio, but not run. But I know that a lot of women love running, but they eventually end up complaining of knee pain. Why is that?
So as they get older, their estrogen levels obviously deteriorate through the body, and estrogen is one of the hormones that we need in our body to protect our joints. So as we start to lose that, obviously the joints become more, fragile, bone on bone. So, we've not got as much
lubrication
in our body and joints and stuff. And, that's why you hear a lot of older people getting knee replacement, hip replacements, because it's gone. And this is something else that's not educated to people, because like when you're running through your 20s, 30s, you don't actually realize how that's going to affect your 40s, 50s. My ex's mum, by her 60s, had 2 knee replacements and 2 hip replacements, and she was a marathon runner. So again, if she could have told her 20-year-old self what she knew about her 60-year-old self, she might have done things a little bit different. So there is, I think a lot of people think running is the be all and end all of weight loss, where it's not. But I'm not a runner either. I'm more a cyclist, but that's still cardiovascular. It's still helping you with your HIIT training, your fat burning, everything, and it's less pressure on your joints.
So low impact, but still gives you the same results.
Exactly, yeah. And swimming is amazing, even though you think it's not that. You wouldn't, a lot of people don't put swimming into our exercise regime, but one, with the breathing, when you go underneath the water, holding your breath, coming up, going back in, that is actually helping with your cardiovascular system as well. So swimming is another great way. And this is something that I ask my clients to do when they're not with me, because one, it's no impact on the joints, actually helps your joints, and it's amazing for your cardiovascular system as well. So,
brilliant.
Replace running if you need to with cycling or swimming.
Interesting. How can women create a balanced fitness plan? Strength, cardio, flexibility. You spoke, of course, you addressed it based on how they are feeling and stuff like that. But if I didn't have a PT and if I had to make my own schedule, how many days do you think I should put towards strength training? How much of cardio and the rest of the stuff like flexibility and things?
So for me, it's like, if you can try, if for example, I'm more based on group exercise. So like if I would tell my client, at least come to 1 cycling class a week. Okay. But again, if they're not into group exercise and they're into PT, I would say at least spend 10 to 15 minutes of your PT session with some sort of cardiovascular. It doesn't need to be, I need to do this every day. It just needs to be that you are putting it into your fitness regime. So for example, if you are working out 5 days a week, I would say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I would use that as strength days. And then maybe if you took Tuesday as a rest day, Thursday you could have that as a cardio day, and maybe a Saturday or Sunday you would have that more as a yoga, stretch, meditation, mindfulness, so that you're kind of getting it all in. I mean, if you done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday all strength, your body would be burnt out by, so you need to have that kind of fitness routine where you know that you're getting in between days to, because for me it's like if you stop moving, your muscles become more dense, and it's like that muscle onset delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, which then people think, oh, I can't go to the gym today. And that's the worst thing they can do. So they need to keep moving. So I always say, like, even if you're not exercising, go for a walk. At least a 30-minute walk per day will help you, keep the body moving, helps with the mind. Even though you're not seeing it as exercise, it's still exercise. I tell my clients they need to hit 10,000 steps a day. And that's not a lot when you think about it, I mean, I'm done 5,000 by 8 o'clock in the morning, but it's like, if you have a desk job, I get it. But then take the stairs. We live in Dubai. I mean, right now, maybe not the best.
Walk the malls.
Walk through the malls. I know last year when I needed to do my 10,000 steps, I went to Mall of Emirates before it even opened, and I now know where every shop is. So I now know if I go to Mall of Emirates, where to park, where the shop is. So it's a good way to learn where the shops are. But even walking is just part of your daily routine, but it's still an exercise that you're doing. So
like I anyways advise people to always take a walk post any meal. Because again, it helps a lot with the whole
digestion.
insulin, spike and to control all of that, like lunch and even post dinner. It's always in general a good way to help your insulin. And I think if you control insulin, lots of things in life can anyways be balanced. That's my basic stuff.
And this is because when it comes to exercise, that it's not just about exercise, it's about the nutrition and again what's going on inside your body as well. So there's a lot more about 1 hour of exercise than just going to the gym. So
small things to the whole day. A couple of things in terms of overcoming challenges. Of course you've done 15 years, you've trained so many women. What are the common challenges women face when it comes to maintaining a fitness routine? They come to the gym one day and then they're like, oh, I can't do the next day, third day. There's always some excuse. But what do you think is the biggest challenge?
A lot of it is, what I hear is time. But like I just said to you, like, if you do not have 1% of your day to do something to look after yourself, and I mean, this goes not just for an exercise thing, it's mentally. Because even for new mums, for example, like I get it that they're busy, they're tired, they've not slept and stuff, but just to have that 1 hour to themselves to switch off and go for a walk or join a dance class, because it's something that kind of, they don't need to think about it, but they're still moving their body, they're still exercising. For me, it's like, if you do not find 1% to look after yourself, then what was he saying? It's like when you go to the doctors, it's like when the doctor tells you that you've got all this stuff wrong with you, that's when it's too late. So you need to miss out all of that and again, talk to yourself in your 5-year time, like, what happens if I get told I need to have a knee replacement? For example, we were just talking about me going on holiday to Thailand in July, August, and I'm taking one of my clients with me, an old client who's now a very good friend, and he's turning 60, and he wants to go. He's done a 20k weight loss journey, and he wants to look at retiring part-time in Thailand. So he was like, can I come with you? And I'll do the retreat and all this stuff. And we were like, yeah. Now he needs to go to London and do a hip replacement. But it's until it's too late. So, try and think of, in 5 years' time, all you needed was that 1% in a day to look after yourself before it gets to that point where, you might be unable to exercise. So time was always a big one. And, it's just different cultures, that maybe some women fear going to the gym, or it's not like, I mean, I know in Dubai we have a lot of lady only gyms, but that was a big thing as well, that like, maybe they weren't allowed to go into a gym when there were men and stuff like that training. But like, there's so much things available now in Dubai and different times of day, like gyms open at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Like there's time. And as I say, it doesn't even need to be in a gym. It could be getting up in the morning and going for a walk. And that is just all they need to be able to like start their day and be mentally ready to be like, right, I've got this.
Yeah.
So yeah, time was always the biggest excuse that
Okay. How do you motivate your clients to stay active, not just the 1 hour they do with you, but from an overall lifestyle perspective? How do you motivate people?
I mean, I probably am the biggest, because like when I do things naturally without thinking about it, and when people come to me and say, oh my God, like you motivate me because of X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, I don't even know that I'm doing that, basically. So for me, education, right? I've got a group WhatsApp now with all these women on it, and like every day I will post something to help them, and whether it's about calorie control, whether it's about exercise, or whether it's about, you know, something that might not even be to do with exercise, I've got education to give these people. And they're like, I've never even thought about it like that. So for example, today's education was, if they have to eat X amount of calories per day, and they're like, oh, well, like they've either ate them all by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or it's now 8 o'clock at night and they've not ate enough calories. So what I've told them is to write out a timeline from the minute they wake up in the morning to the minute they go to bed at night, and spread the calories over like 5 meals.
Okay.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner is your 3 main meals, and then 2 snacks per day. And that's all they need to break down how much calories that they should be eating. And then they shouldn't be getting to like 8 o'clock at night and be like, I need to eat 1,000 calories in one meal. Or they shouldn't be getting to 2 o'clock in the afternoon and think, I've not got any calories left. So all these little education things is still motivating them to be able to meet their fitness goals and to help them. It's not just about, for me, it's about changing a lifestyle. It's about giving them a lifestyle and changing habits. So if they know that they've got a big event coming up, for example, so they're going out on a Saturday and they know that they might be going over in the calories, then I'll be like, well, you need to reduce your calories from Monday to Friday so that you're still in your calorie deficit by the end of the week.
Because you'll be a surplus later.
Yes. Yeah. But they're like, I never thought about it like this, because what they'll do is they'll eat the same amount of calories, they'll eat more on Saturday, and then they think, I need to work twice as hard next week. Yeah. And then by then they've already been like, you know, it's like when you're already over, then they think, well, I may as well just start again on Monday. Yeah. But it's all about preventing that from happening. So for me, it's all about educating. Then when it comes to the physical motivation, the energy, there's days that I wake up in the morning, I'm like, but like there's just something that sparks that as soon as you walk into a room and you see these women that need you, that's when the light bulb has to come on. And because I do a lot of Group X music, these women like love certain music, and they always send me music. Sharon, can you play this? Can you play that? So again, I just tell them, put on a Spotify playlist, put your earpods in and go out a walk. And music is one of the biggest motivators that women or anybody, like when guys go to the gym, they don't go to the gym and not listen to music, you know? So music is a big motivator as well. So I have a lot of playlists. I have a lot of 90s playlists, 90s playlists, 80s playlists as well. So again, they can go into my Spotify and they can listen to music. And yeah, I think there's probably more, but I just don't know because it's just part of me that does it automatically.
Unknowingly. It's just happening.
Yeah.
You spoke about calories. It gets me to one question. A lot of people or women do intermittent fasting, and sometimes it's a longer fasting, 1 meal a day and stuff like that, or even fasting 24 hours, 36 hours. I'm a strong believer in intermittent fasting in different cycles. But at those days, you're not able to consume any calories. You're basically just drinking water or probably a black tea. Do you advise women working out during that time? And if yes, what kind of activity, so that it actually helps them, complements the fasting that they're doing and not actually stress them more?
So this is a really good question because intermittent fasting has become a huge thing now, and it is hard. But for me, the first thing I say is make sure that you have been educated on the fasting. You're fasting for the right reasons, and because a lot of people are just like, yeah, I'm just fasting because, like not because of religious reasons or because like they're saving up all their calories for like one meal, for example. I've heard that before. They're like, yeah, I'm going out for dinner tonight, so I'm not going to eat all day and just eat like this one meal. But then you're eating all the wrong foods.
Correct.
Because you're not reversing you're fasting for a reason. And then when you are then eating, if you're eating the wrong foods, that's when you're going to get intolerances, you're going to get bloating. So I do believe that it is still okay to exercise, but again, it's choosing the right exercises. Strength training, low intensity, not putting your body through any more stress to, increase your cortisol levels but if someone comes to me, then I need to go through, the reasons why they're fasting, how they're breaking their fast, what time they're breaking their fast, what time we should exercise. When I first moved here over 8-9 years ago, when it was Ramadan, the gyms were empty. Now, people are exercising. And it's so nice to see that they've educated themselves to know that it's still okay to go to the gym, it's still okay to exercise, but it's understanding what they should be doing to help their body while still fasting. Because if you've not eaten all day, you have got low energy, you do feel lethargic. So it's just having that conversation with someone and making them understand what they can and can't do when they're going to the gym.
Okay. Question leading again to the same thing. A lot of women do fasted workouts. So because they're like, morning, I want to start my workout in the morning, but I don't want to eat anything. Is fasted workout beneficial, or it actually counters the fact that you're burning muscle instead of actually fat for producing the energy?
Yes, again, as long as they understand the fasting and what they are trying to accomplish. So, I mean, I teach every morning at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. So I am fasted and I can't eat before exercise. But yes, if you're going into your fat burning zone, then if that's what your goal is, then that's fine. But if, for example, your goal isn't fat burning and it's strength training, and then you don't have a lot of fat to burn, you may be going into burning the muscle.
Yeah.
So that's another conversation. What's your goals? What time do you want to work out? And what kind of workouts? I mean, if you are doing a lot of cardio, like I do, cycling 4 days a week at 7 o'clock in the morning. So if you're going strength training, then that's totally different. But if it is cardio, but your goal is not weight loss, then I would say, no, you need to look at even having, a banana, some dates or something, so that you're putting some sort of calories into your body to help burn the calories rather than going in and burning the muscle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I'm sure a lot of people have this thing of fasted workout, beneficial, not beneficial. So I said I had to ask this question.
Yeah. I mean, this is when I'm working in group fitness, like there's 20 people, say, in my class. I can't go round everybody and say, what's your goal? Why are you here? Oh, maybe you should go to a different class. But this is when people do come to me and say, I'm not meeting my goals. Well, let's look at your workout and what you're doing wrong, because if your workouts, for example, if someone is looking to lose weight, but they're only going to strength classes, then they need to change something. If someone is not looking to lose fat and they're just wanting to get stronger, but they're going to like all the cycling classes and, it is just that conversation that you need to have with them and make them understand their goals need to match what they're doing.
What safety precautions should menopausal women take if they're just starting their fitness journey? They heard that I have to start strength training. I heard that I'm going to go hit the gym from tomorrow. What should they look out for?
They're going to be in a lot of pain anyway, on top of the pain that they're already in. So what I would suggest is start with body weight training. Don't go in and start smashing the weights in the gym because it's a journey. And this is not just a journey that's going to last, 3 months or 6 months. This needs to be a journey that's going to last a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I've watched so many videos of these older women in gym, like in their 60s, 70s, 80s, lifting more than what like 20-year-olds are lifting. So, the journey needs to be for longevity.
Progressive.
Yeah. So, let's start with some body weight training. You can do some air squats, you can do some walking lunges, you can push-ups, things that you would do generally anyway without actually adding in any weight. And I've always said as well, like if people are traveling and going on holiday and they might not have access to a gym, there is always stuff that you can do. Like if you're walking along and there's a bench, you can do tricep dips on the bench. So there's always something that you can do to move your body, and it doesn't need to be physically lifting weights. So if someone is brand new and never, been in a gym in their life, or, wanting to start this journey, I would always start with, body weight training, then come bringing in some resistance training, whether it's with bands, whether it's with like cables, and then progress it from there. But if you just basically stuck them in
You
a
don't
gym
do
and told them
deadlift immediately.
if they did, they would probably never come back again. So following on from that, when I first moved here and I was in a gym in Murdiff, which is a lot of locals, one of my PTs had went away on holiday and she asked me to look after a client, and it was an older woman. She must have been maybe in her late 50s, early 60s. And I'd done a leg workout with her. Because obviously, these women are like, I want a bigger booty.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like, right, we'll do legs today. And I never seen her. She was in the gym every single day, 7 days a week. And to me, again, this is just like, well, if you're doing it right, then you shouldn't be in the gym 7 days a week. So I said to her, let's book you in for tomorrow. And obviously I had a plan to do something different tomorrow. I'd never seen her for 5 days. And her daughter called me and she was like, just to let you know, my mum really enjoyed her PT session with you, but she's been in bed for 5 days and we had to call the doctor.
What did you do to my mum?
But she wants to come back next week. So it was like, right, okay, if you called me the day after, I would have told her like what to do for the DOMs and like keep moving and come to the gym and even just go for a walk. But the fact that she stayed in bed for 5 days made it worse. And she couldn't move and they had to phone the doctor. Yeah. So, we don't want to repeat that situation, but it's just making sure that they understand that, you're going to experience some muscle soreness, but it's not injuries or it's not anything that's going wrong inside your body. It's just the fact that your muscles
they got a shock.
They're waking up. Because everybody has muscle. Yeah. So on the body analysis that we were talking about, there's a scale. And it's like the low, the normal, and then the over scale. So the higher percentage or kilograms that you have of muscle in the body, the better it is for your body.
Okay.
And women should not be scared of having muscles in their body.
I love the definition that comes with muscles, which you'll never get with cardio.
Exactly. And that's what it is. When people start to see their body changing for the better, then that's when they start to get addicted. And we don't want them to get too addicted, but we want them to actually enjoy coming to the gym. Because again, it's this inferior that if you've never worked out before, or some people just don't enjoy going to the gym. Yeah. And you need to find something that makes you enjoy it. Yeah. Because there's nothing worse than spending an hour of your day doing something you hate. Yeah. So it's trying to find something, whether it is a one-on-one PT session or whether it is a group fitness session, then they need to find something that is going to make them want to go back and do it again. Yeah.
Fall in love with what you're doing rather than be like, oh shit, I've got to do this.
Because what you said about CrossFit, you love it. Yeah. Other people look at it and like, what the heck? So CrossFit's not for everybody. Yeah. Running is not for everybody. Cycling is not for everybody. Zumba's not for everybody. But there's loads of women out there that love Zumba. Yeah. But it gets them moving. And it's that music and it's that community. Yeah. So, and again, CrossFit is a community. So for me, it's all about finding something that you love doing that is also helping you on your fitness journey. Yeah. And it doesn't need to be just a one-on-one PT session and lifting weights and then feeling sore for the next 2 or 3 days and then having to do it all over again.
Yeah. Makes more sense. Can you, like, you spoke about balancing cardio and weight training and mindfulness, but any tips on combining fitness routine with mindfulness or relaxation techniques?
I mean, it kind of all rolls into one anyway. As in, do you mean like when you go to the gym, like what classes would you do? Or
Yeah, what kind of classes would be categorized under mindfulness? And
mindfulness is going to be more your relaxation. Again, yoga, Pilates reformer is a huge thing now. And that's all resistance-based training as well. Even although you're not lying in a dark room with your eyes shut, you're still being mindful of what your body's doing and how your body is moving. Whereas, if you're in a Zumba class and there's flashing lights and, everything's going crazy, you might not be as mindful as what you would be in. So there's different kind of zones that you kind of go to when it goes to exercise. When you wake up in the morning, you might not be wanting that crazy, like, workout. You might be wanting something a bit more zen.
Yeah.
So, your yoga, your Pilates, swimming again is very mindful because you're on your own.
Yeah.
You're in your own head because it's not like you're going to be talking to anybody underwater. So that could also come under like your mindful. Things that kind of take your own thoughts in your head.
Yeah.
Is more about that mindfulness.
Yeah.
And then obviously when you're strength training, it's more like feeling it, like you feel your muscles working, you feel that kind of. And then when you go to like the cycling classes and the group fitness classes, like you've not got a care in the world, you're just like,
it's that.
So there is that different kind of category. So yeah, for more of your like craziness, that's when you want to be like in that kind of like
in a spinning class.
In a spinning class, yeah. And then PT again is more. It is a bit more mindful because your PT should be explaining exactly what's going on in your body. Like you should be understanding how many reps you're doing, why you're doing it. And once you start to understand, then that's when you start to think, I need to lift heavier, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. So yeah, there is different. I mean, for me, mindfulness isn't always just about lying and doing a yoga class. I'm not a yogi, but I've done it, and I don't think it's for me. I call myself the elephant in the room because I'm not very like everybody looks so like they flow and they make it look so elegant, and then there's me.
I totally relate with you. I feel I'm not flexible at all. And the other day I went for this swing yoga. I don't know why. I'm like, let me try this swing yoga out. And I went into the room and I was there. Literally, my jaw dropped. And I saw these women, they're like flying in the air. And one lady looks at me, she's like, "Your first class?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, and the instructor's trying to put my leg through here. And I'm like, "Dude, how are you doing this?"
But they make it look so easy,
Yeah.
and it looks so elegant. But yeah, for me, and I know that I need to do it, and I know that it's good for my body, but it's just when, like if I was in a room with no mirrors, then I would be fine. Yeah. But the fact that every yoga studio is just covered in mirrors, and it's like, why do I look like this? But put me on a bike, put me in a dark room, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like mindfulness, I just try and find other ways to be more mindful. Even just going to walk along Kite Beach, put a podcast in, get my head in my own thoughts. It's still helping me come out of, all the craziness and the stress and everything else that's going on in the world.
And all the noise that's in your head in general. What are some of the inspiring transformations you have witnessed? You've probably witnessed multiple in your journey, but specifically talking about women going through the whole menopause, struggling with weight loss, but still, thriving through it.
So this is the biggest thing that I've realized with the clients that I've been dealing with when it comes to the whole hitting the menopause. Like the perimenopause is just the I call it the shit before it hits the fan, basically. But when they hit that menopause, like they're not ready for it, right? They're not ready for what's about to happen because our bodies are changing, and we're not going to have the body that we had when we were 20 years old. The collagen, the elastin, everything else is going, you're changing. Your body is changing. When women go through pregnancy, their body changes, and again, that can be a lot for them, but they know that they're going to get something at the end of it, and they know that their body will bounce back. With menopause, they just see as it's just going to be all downhill from here.
Yeah, there's a big question mark.
Yeah. And you know, this is why I always say that there's a lot of supplements and like collagen and everything else that we should be replenishing in our body, because as we get older every year, you know, it depletes through our body. So, you know, they need to understand that, like, yeah, you're not going to look how you did in your 20s and 30s and 40s, but by the time you hit your 50s, we need to embrace what we have. So if you can start that journey in your 40s, it may be better in the 50s. But, you know, this one client that I spoke to, you know, I was listening to, she sent me a 6-minute podcast because I was just asking her some questions, like, is there anything that I can then, because I've not been through it, but I would like to speak about the experience of what you're going through. And as I was telling you, you know, she's hit 50 years old, and, you know, she looks, you know, this happy-go-lucky, but deep down inside she's not. And she's just lost like 15 kilograms of body weight, and she looks amazing. But for her, she doesn't see that because she's still seeing what she's seen maybe in her 30s, or she still wants what she had in her 30s. And again, she's like, the elastin is going in her skin, and she just doesn't feel comfortable in her body. And that is one of it. When you're dealing with women like this, it's not just it's more therapy, because you have to then let them know that sometimes if you've been really overweight and you lose a lot of weight and you've got saggy skin, there's nothing you can do about it.
True.
There's no amount of exercise that you can do that's going to help. Your elastins went. It's like stretching an elastic band.
Correct.
It's never going to go back to where it is. And this is what they struggle with. Same with the menopause. Even if you want to have that perfect skin, and that's gone, because as you age, that's going to, we can try and prevent it as much as possible, but it's never going to bounce back to where it is. So, you know, for me, it's like trying to educate these women that prevention is better than cure, but then there isn't going to be a cure for menopause. But as much as we can exercise and look after ourselves in our late 30s, early 40s, we can hopefully look better by the time we get to our 50s than what you can remember your grandma and things like that being. So, but yeah, I feel like these women that hit their 50s aren't prepared for what's about to happen to them. So if I can try and educate them to, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, but if I can help them mentally before they get to that stage, then that at least that's one more thing that I can tick off to say that, you know, I can be that person that they can talk to and give them some sort of insight to you know, what's about to happen to them.
I have another question. We spoke about it's difficult for women anyways to build a lot of muscle, unlike men. But then you spoke about some women taking other stuff to gain that extra muscle. What are the repercussions or the after effects on that with hormone and eventually with the skin and the body as they grow older?
The way that I see any sort of like whatever your body doesn't produce, so whatever else you're going to put in your body, we do not know how that can affect you in years to come. So I haven't took any sort of additional hormones since I was in my 30s. I haven't been on the pill. So I haven't pumped extra hormones into my body in over 10 years. So I want to do things as naturally as possible.
Sure.
Women that have used substances and have used other things and you know, back in the day I was with a bodybuilder and I was in that bodybuilding scene, and I've seen things that, you know, question, is this a woman? Is it a man? You know, their skin becomes grey, their voice starts to get deeper, and it's just questionable about what is going to happen to you in 10 years' time. So for me, it's all about do things as naturally as possible. Don't put any sort. I mean, this is probably a whole different podcast as well when it comes to hormone replacement, but like these women, by the time they get to that age, I know I'm kind of going off track, is that they have no other choice because they've
always
educated.
been taking something to...
Or they've not been educated. So as soon as you go to the doctor and the doctor says you need to go on HRT, they're going to take it like that. If you are a bodybuilder and someone says, oh, you can be 3 times bigger by taking this, they're going to take it. But it's not doing the homework that goes along with it. And, you know, back years ago, HRT was like forbidden because it was, you know,
associated with breast cancer. There was the whole...
And things have evolved. They've done experiments. They've moved on. But women these days are still a bit worried about, oh, I can't take this because it's going to give me cancer. Everything these days can give you cancer. You know, like there's so much... you know, if certain foods, processed foods can give you cancer. So we can't live our world in fear of this. But when it comes to any sort of, you know, thing that you're putting in your body, just do the homework. And can you always trust doctors? I don't know. But if you want a second opinion, go and get a second opinion. Do your research. Speak to other people that have maybe already been there and done it. But what I've learned from women in the past is that they've got to the point where they are desperate. They're desperate for help. And if someone offers them, you know, a magic tablet, patch, cream, whatever, they're going to take it. So again, with these women that I have known in the past, so I've known 3 women who have competed in competitive bodybuilding that have been on steroids that can't get pregnant. So if they knew how that was going to affect their hormones in years to come, they probably wouldn't have done what they'd done to their bodies. So you need to understand that whatever you're putting in your body may have some sort of precaution that comes with it at a later day. Same with running. My ex's mum that ran for her full like 20 years of her life in marathons had to end up getting that
surgery.
There's always an effect, but we don't know. We can't live in fear about what will happen in 10 years' time. But I think at this day and age, we should be more clued up on educating ourselves before we go ahead and do anything that is going to affect your body.
Yeah, like I always tell the younger kids I coach, young I say when they're about 20s, I find they're very young compared to me. They always are like, you know, I like the way this girl is looking. And I'm like, you know, don't compare yourself, you know, especially these models and stuff like that. I said, you know, a lot of these people suffer from not having periods for many months, you know, because they have such low body fat in percentage in them. And I said, you should be happy that you're actually healthy, having your periods every month. And, you know, you probably tomorrow you want to have a baby, you'll be able to have a baby. Maybe she will actually struggle to have a baby because women, when they lose a lot of weight, body fat, your reproductive organs don't work very well.
We have a certain amount of body fat that you should have as a female to protect your organs and, you know, for that purpose. And men are a lot lower. But like women don't understand that when they've got their body fat to that percentage, and the reverse of that again is very dangerous. And you know, you can go from one extreme to the other, and then your hormones are all over the place, and then you can't lose weight, and then it's this whole reverse psychology of like, look at what I used to look like and look what I used to do to now. So, and a lot of these people that do that competitive side of things are not they've got body dysmorphia. And this is what I found out, that they're never going to be happy with their body, whether we see that they look better like this or like that, but they don't see it. They don't see what we see in the mirror. But that comes more into like the mental side of things. And, you know, within the 15 plus years that I've worked in the fitness industry, I have seen it all. I have seen it from one extreme to the other. And, you know, it's an addiction. It's an addiction that they get, whether it's an addiction of going to the gym or whether it's an addiction with food. It's, you know, you just need to get that balanced in between to understand what a healthy body looks like and what a healthy diet is to. And as you say, I've worked in many gyms as well, and they'll come up and say, I want a booty like this.
And I was going to ask you this. I'm sure they'll be like coming to you, you know, Sharon, I want to look like this in like 4 months now. What can we do?
So, you know, I'm like, well, it's never going to happen because you need to work for years to look like that. And this is why my niece is 15 and I'm so proud of her that at 15 years old that she's got a gym membership, she's going to the gym, she's got an amazing physique. When I was 15, I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
And I can't, I just, not that I wanted a pushy mum, but I just wish that my mum was more active and more into the gym to make us be like that.
Yeah.
Whereas my sister and myself were quite active. So my sister made sure that my niece, when she was growing up, was like in that kind of sport, and like she does gymnastics, she does swimming, and now she is building a foundation of going to the gym, lifting weights, and understanding. Like she's always on the phone to me saying, Auntie Sharon, like what exercise can I do for this muscle group, for that muscle group? But one of the most funny stories was when I worked in Murdoch, and this woman had contacted me and she said that she was looking for a PT, and she says, I need to lose 15 kilograms. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, yeah, by like next week. Yeah. I was like, well, what limb do you want to lose? Because there's no way you're going to lose 15 kilograms of fat. So you may as well just cut a leg off or something, But people just want quick fix. People just want, a magic pill basically to get a big booty or to lose 15 kilograms.
Munjaro. That's the new magic pill I'm hearing, and my blood boils.
So this is another thing you don't know, because it's such a new thing, apart from obviously people that need it, but it's such a new thing for this weight loss that you don't know what that's doing to your body in 5 years' time.
Yeah, it's like that whole Ozempic drug designed for diabetes patient. You are actually fooling your body by, taking a medicine which is supposed to help with your insulin resistance and stuff like that. It's not nice. And you never know. Maybe you'll lose the weight now, but what you might gain it back if you actually don't make the lifestyle changes. I get so annoyed.
Yes.
So annoyed.
So this is what I build as a lifestyle habits, right? So like at this point in time, like the Shred program that I'm running, like these women have a 6-week program to change their lifestyle habits. So every week they need to do something that's mindful, something that's like a challenge to them. So like, how long can they hold a squat hold for? How many push-ups can they do? So every week they try and beat their
own score, yeah.
Then they've got like something to do with nutrition. Then they've got to do a physical exercise, whether it's like a strength class or a ride class. So they've got something to challenge themselves every week. And then a habit. So a habit is they need to drink 2.5 to 3 liters of water a day. They need to do 10,000 steps a day. So at the end of the 6 weeks, they've created a new lifestyle. And it's not just, I done it once and that was it. No, you need to drink 2.5 to 3 liters of water per day. You need to do 10,000 steps per day. So by the end of the 6 weeks, it's already built into their routine, and it's now a habit to them. And, we've all got smartphones, watches and stuff like that we can see how many steps we're doing. And it's like I've done 9,978 steps, so I need to walk to get the 10,000
up and down
steps.
a little so that I clocked the 10K.
But even although it doesn't matter that if I didn't do the 20 steps, mentally I needed to see that 10,000.
The whole circle completing.
So for me, it's like building a lifestyle so that women can then continue that. And it's not just short-lived. It's not like, I need to lose weight for my wedding, I'm getting married in 3 months, and then after that, it's done. No. So I feel like the way that the world is evolving, that women or men need to have a habit that is suitable to their lifestyle as well. There's no point in telling someone that you need to do X, Y, and Z when they can't, or they don't have the time, or they're only going to do it for like 2-3 months. And then it's, for me, it takes at least 3 months to get that lifestyle, that habit, to build that lifestyle. And then it's just part of your daily routine. You wake up in the morning without even thinking, got your gym stuff on, gone to the gym without having to think, I really need to go to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym. Procrastinate. Then before you know it, it's like 12 o'clock, still not been to the gym.
And like I always tell a lot of people, I said, if you think morning you're always contemplating, pack your bag the night and keep it in your car.
Yeah. And that's just building that habit.
So you have to get up and go. So you can't be like, I'm going to go to the car and pick up my bag and come back. No, you will just go.
So my friend started doing that. She's coming to my gym now. and she lives in JVC, she works in Business Bay, and she kept leaving work and obviously the traffic, then going home to get changed and then missing the class.
Yeah.
Why do you not just keep your gym
Yeah.
bag in the car? Yeah. It's like, just skip out that extra, there's no reason for you to go
Yeah.
home. But, again, that might have just been an excuse like, I've missed the class because I need to go home.
Yeah.
No, your clothes are in the car, so there's no reason for you to go home to get changed and just come. And I'm one of them that if I go home, I'm not coming back out.
Yeah. I think you and I are very, very similar.
Yeah.
What advice, do you have menopausal women who are new to fitness or looking to revamp their exercise routines? I think we spoke about it, but then anything else that you can share?
Have a to-do list. Like,
Okay.
for me, especially because one of the things that women go through is brain fog and they forget a lot.
Yeah.
So if you have a to-do list, there's nothing better than ticking off that last box saying, I've done everything that I need to do on my to-do list today. So is it I've packed my gym bag? Is it my gym bag's in the car? Is it that I have to do 10,000 steps? So building that habit, building that lifestyle, waking up in the morning and, not having that like, I have to go to the gym today. Like, don't even think about it, because the more you think about it, the more you're going to procrastinate.
Yeah.
So it's just getting up in the morning and having that habit, that lifestyle built into your daily routine. You're going to you've got kids that you need to drop off at school. What you're going to do? What gym class can I go to that's at 8:30? Because the school's here and I need to find something close by. Nobody wants to be stuck in traffic. Nobody wants to be like stressed that they're going to be late for a gym class. So, find something that fits your go-to lifestyle. You need to take your kids to school. Can't get away with that. Yeah. But what can you fit around that within, a 5-10 minute kind of time slot?
Yeah.
And then that way it's already
you're doing two things, not that I have to go to the gym. It's like it's part of your way. And,
And I mean, we have a lot of mums that come to us that like, I didn't realize how, they actually come to the gym before they go to the kids drop off, right? Yeah. So they'll do that and then they're like, right, Sharon, I need to go because I need to go and take the kids to school. So like you've got the mums that maybe are working mums, but like that have to do it before they've even got their kids to school. Or you've got the mums that drop the kids off at school and then they have time to come to the gym. But maybe for menopause women, it might be a little bit because their kids might have moved out. And so for menopausal women, it's just trying to find another group of women that maybe fit around their age range that they can then, they might be the coffee morning mums that like have a workout and then go for a coffee and then, but you always...
Like more like have an accountability group or someone that you're forming a community or a group, small circle, but you're just accountable that I have to be there for the class.
So at another gym that I used to work in, we had that group of women and they were all like the older women that were here with their husbands were at work, their husband travelled, and they all started coming to my gym and I was introducing one to the other, and then they always came to the gym class, done their gym class, went to Marks and Spencer's, had their coffee. Then from there, they all started a badminton group. So then not only had they been in the gym, then they went for coffee, then they went to play badminton, and then it grew from there. Do you know what I mean? They had like, let's go and play beach volleyball, let's go and do this, let's do that. So then, they all formed their own little community. And it was so nice to see because these women kept each other accountable.
Yeah.
And that was what was nice to see as well. There's I think that's what's missing as well, especially for like, I moved here with a friend who I called her my Dubai mum, and she went from leaving, she was a proper yogi. That was her that used to take me to yoga, but she came from being like surrounded by loads of people to nobody. And I think a lot of like the older women that are here are a little bit more lonely. So when they come to Dubai, they've given up their careers and stuff like that if it's their husband's job that they're here for, and then they don't have that
the
friendship.
friends, yeah.
So it was so nice to see them all build that community, that friendship, to then see that their husbands couldn't even get, them fitted in because they're like, no, I've got badminton.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to do. So yeah, it's really nice to see like communities being built here, especially for women, because we are a bit more vulnerable and there might be, there's a lot of loneliness. There is a lot of loneliness. So I feel like the fitness industry helps women get over that as well. So even if you're not really into the gym, you're just coming for that community aspect.
Yeah, true. Where can our listeners find more information about your work and any resources that you can recommend?
So myself and my business partner Nadia started up Womanhood. So we've only done one event at this point in time. We're going to start coffee mornings. Just again, building a safe space community for women to come along and have a coffee. And then we'll probably do 2 big events per year. So that'll be seminars, educational platforms, and obviously bringing other people in. It's not just about us, it's bringing other people in. The first one we've done PCOS, pre-postnatal, menopause, nutrition and mindset. So there's lots more things to be spoken about. So Womanhood UAE, and then my platform is Menopausitivity. So it's all about bringing a positive approach to menopause. So that's on Instagram, and I currently work in Boxica. So if anybody wants to come and join me, I'm quite happy to wake you up at 7 o'clock in the morning and shout at you on a bike. But yeah, we do loads of different styles of training there as well. So we've got like cycling, which gives you that kind of disco kind of theme. You've got boxing if you have got a bit of, anger that you want to get out. And then you've got like strength training, circuit training, sweat, like cardiovascular. So yeah, we've got everything that you need all under one roof.
Brilliant. Before we go, got a last little special segment. I call it the 1%. 99% of the conversation that we, or the topics that we speak about at the F podcast is revolving around women and for women. But we also have the men in our lives. Sharon, can you share your 1% advice to the men in our life? What's the advice that you would give them in terms of how can they better support women through their menopausal journey?
Yeah, this is a really, really good topic as well. And I'm glad that you brought it up, because I've had a few women that come to me and said that, like, so I think I had spoke about at the last one that a lot of divorces happen around the menopause age. First of all, the whole marriage has been revolved around the kids, and everything that they do is, I need to take the kids here, I need to get the kids here, and then they're a mum and dad. They're not, the husband and wife, and they're not who they used to be. And then when the kids move out, it's like, we don't know who we are anymore. So this is what I always say to the people as well, like, don't lose who you are when you become parents. But men then don't know who their wives are anymore. They just think that the women become these crazy, like, why is she shouting at me? Why is she always in a mood? They don't understand what their wives are actually going through. And this is like a massive, hole that needs to be filled. And I think there needs to be a support network there as well for men. I've had positives and I have had negatives from like the women that saying that my husband is really, really supportive. He has been reading books. He's been, coming along to like doctor's appointments and stuff with me. And then you get the other scale that men just don't want to be in the house. They don't want to be around the wives. And that makes them worse because they're frustrated and they don't know what's going on with their own hormones. Yeah. And they just want that support. So I think it is good for men to then educate or be educated, not even just to educate themselves, but there needs to be a support network there for men that men can then, because when I ran my, the first event, I had women asking me if they could bring their husbands. And we said, no, not this time, but it can be something that we do in the future. but it would be good to have a men's support group for, you know, a positive approach for a man to be like, you know, I done this, and feed off of each other's energy to see what is going to help for them. But men suffer as well, and it's not that that's what they want. It's not like they want their marriage to end, or it's not that they want to see their wife turning into someone that they don't know, but it's just because they don't have the resources and the education there to empathize with them, basically.
Or to be there for them.
Yeah. And this was what I spoke about as well when it came to pregnancy. And, you know, men are excited that they're going to be a dad, and then their wife goes through all these crazy cycles and, you know, first trimester, trimester, third, but they know that they're getting something at the end of it. But again, when it comes to menopause, the men are just like, oh, is this what I've got to live with for the rest of my life? So definitely the 1% club should be a thing. I think we should make a 1%.
The 1% club, yeah. We'll probably call it that, the 1% club.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Sharon. It was wonderful speaking with you today. I think everyone has got a lot of insight on what fitness should be and how we can actually incorporate different types of fitness into our life and make it as a lifestyle change rather than just a tick box, right?
Yes.
I think that's something that we all learned. Thank you so much. That's a wrap for today's session. I hope you all liked it. I totally loved it. And I'm sure you're wearing your shoes right now and hitting your 10K steps. Until next time, menopause, why pause? Let's play.